Well, hello there. Welcome to this edition of Thought for the Week. We're in an exciting part of the book of Acts. Luke is a great historian, and he writes with consummate skill and the most tremendous detail. Well, he'd have to, because you'll remember that the book of Acts is actually a legal document, we believe, prepared by Luke for a Roman barrister named Theophilus, who was going to be defending Paul, who was standing trial for his life in Rome. So it was incredibly important that what Luke wrote down was utterly factual, and it certainly is that way. How exciting to read these tremendous historical truths about Peter and the rest of them. Wonderfully encouraging. Well, I said last time that Herod Agrippa had tremendous power because of his ability to provide surrounding nations with food when there was famine or when they were having a difficult time. And the land of Phoenicia to the north of Israel simply couldn't sustain itself from within, and it was dependent upon Israel for imports of food. And that arrangement had been made way back in the time of King Solomon, who made that arrangement with a king from the north whose name was Hiram, and he supplied King Solomon with timber for his temple. So Solomon was a good and friendly neighbor. But now Tyre and Sidon were in hock to Herod Agrippa, a completely different situation. And Luke tells us that a Cold War had developed between them. A trade embargo was threatened. And such dependency works well when nations are friendly, but it becomes dangerous if your supplier becomes unfriendly or unreliable. We can compare our own situation and our dependence upon Russia for gas and the Muslim world for oil. Yeah, tricky stuff, wasn't it? See, our lost manufacturing base makes us very vulnerable to unpredictable countries like China. We can't feed ourselves without imports from Europe and further afield. Well, this is a serious thing. And the lands of Phoenicia to the north of Israel were in that position. They were dependent upon Herod, and he had a quarrel with them. We don't know what it was about, but Luke refers to it, and it certainly threatened the import of food from Israel, and it led to a frantic attempt to suck up to Herod to gain his favor. And these are the verses that describe that. This is chapter 12 and verse 20. Herod went from Judea to Caesarea and stayed for a while. He obviously felt the need for a break, and it tells us he'd been quarreling with the people. Now, that's a very dangerous situation. The people from Tyre and Sidon were very vulnerable, and this gave Herod tremendous power over them. But they say, and it's well said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And to be in hock to a man like Herod Agrippa was a desperately, desperately serious business. And so this is what we have described here. Herod came into the theater at Caesarea, down by the Mediterranean, to receive this deputation from Phoenicia as they tried to earn his favor to make sure that he continued to supply them with food. Verse 21 says, on the appointed day, Herod appeared in his royal robes, and the way he behaved himself was not only impressive, it turned out to be fatal, as we shall see. But anyway, I'll tell you about it next time. Bless you, and bye for now.